Merry meet. My kettle's been boiled, ready to make some tea. I'm honoring Imbolc today in the kitchen. My stove has been wiped, and I'm lighting my hearth fire in my kitchen. I hope you join me today for some kitchen magic. I have my milk on standby, and I have a small saucepan. I'm going to just pour my milk into. I'm going to add my jasmine, my lavender, and my combination of rose and calendula. And I'm going to just, bring this up to just a slight simmer. And once it comes to a slight simmer, I'm going to just turn it off and let it rest. The magical properties of jasmine include love, and we all need maybe a little bit of additional love this coming year. Meditation, which I hope you meditate often. Relaxation, and we all need a little bit of relaxation, I think, whether physically or mentally. Money drawing, and excuse me, in this day and time, definitely money drawing. And jasmine will also affect your dreams. They will be kind of somewhat prophetic. I'm not saying that, So some of the magical properties of the dried flowers that we put in here, and of course your intentions always play, an important part of this, but with jasmine, it's love, meditation, relaxation, whether it be physical or mental, money drawing, dreaming, and to cleanse your aura. And also one thing that I think we could all use is a little bit more self-confidence. Now, we all know about lavender and the effects it has to relax you, but lavender is also exceptional to ward off evil spirits. Now, as far as calendula is concerned, the magical properties, now, the mundane properties are wonderful, but the magical properties, as with one of the others, it removes, negative energy. You can also use the petals, such as we are, for divination or in a tea to enhance your mental capabilities. Calendula also strengthens your heart, and it raises spirits. I'm going to add just a wee bit being, oh my goodness, just a really, just a pinch of some rosemary. Now I've already turned my heat off, and I'm just going to let it set and steep in this milk. And what I'm definitely going to do once it cools enough, I'm going to reserve enough of this milk, a spoonful, to give an offering to my Fae outdoors. And last and certainly not least is rose. And I have my rose in here. I use rose very often. It will totally raise the vibrations in whatever it is that you're doing. And when you raise your vibrations, you're going to manifest, more powerful and a lot quicker. So as I am preparing to put this together, I'm putting a lot of intentions in everything. And I have my eggs here. And of course, they have not been broken. They are definitely at room temperature. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to write my intentions on my eggs. And one aspect that I am asking for throughout this year is for strength. Physical strength and mental strength, because I feel that there's going to be a lot, I think y'all can see, a lot going on throughout. Let's see how I can get this. And there is one more thing. I can do this straight. I have my sigil for strength, mental strength, physical strength. Goes all the way around. And another thing, I'm not trying to be greedy, but I'm going to ask for patience, and I'm going to just write this out, if I can. And I'm going to just set this aside, and I'm going to just enchant these with all of my intention to be more patient and to have more physical and mental strengths. I'm also including in this recipe is some lavender infused honey that was gifted to me by one of my subscribers, and I want to thank them very, very much. But very, very magical honey. I've got 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder as my leavening agent, but what I am adding is probably 1/2 teaspoon of salt. But this salt, I have asked for protection from every single negative thing, mundane and magical, that I should encounter. One of the first things that I'm going to do, if you want to sift your flour, that's fine too. I'm going to go in a clockwise direction to bring in patience, to bring in strength physically and mentally. I'm adding my leavening agents in a clockwise fashion, just to get these mixed up and, to place my hands here and, ask every deity that I work with and that's near me to come and to provide me with what I ask for. I did want to mention, and I'm not really sure about everyone else, but I am going to be baking this in my cast iron loaf pan. I haven't prepared it yet. But this is one of those things that is full of symbolism, strength. It's strong, and I'm going to be asking for every bit of strength, that all of the ingredients that I've put in to be as strong as this cast iron that I'm using. If you have, a different type of pan, that's totally fine too. But I tend to use a lot of symbolism in my kitchen magic. So I have a cup of granulated sugar here, and thankfully, Rob blessed me with a pretty good amount of sun today, so I'm happy about that. I'm going to just pour and get this creamed up. But as I do this, I'm going clockwise. Of course, I know the beaters are going counter, and if you feel that strongly about it, you can go ahead and do this by hand. But I know my intentions are right and just in my ask and pure. Now that's as creamed as I can get this, but I have my eggs, and what I'm going to do course, I'm going to crack them. I'm going to reserve my shells. I'm going to dry them and add them into some spell workings a little bit later. But the first thing I'm going to do is on as low as I can. You don't have to do this one at a time. And always into myself. And of course that depends on what you're asking for, but I definitely need more patience, and I surely need more strength. But I'm going to just get this whipped until it's creamy, light, and fluffy. And before I carry on any further, I have my milk here, and it's, whoops, I think this is totally cooled off, but I am definitely, I'm going to, you know, take away maybe half a tablespoon for the Fae. But let's get our flour. And finally, I think you can see this mixture. I'm going to add just a little bit of this. And this I definitely will hand stir. I have my milk here. And I'm going to kind of just go, excuse me, just, you know, a little bit here and a little bit more until this is mixed thoroughly. This is going to be a beautiful, beautiful bread. If you are solitary or if you are having a celebration, and this is going to be a lovely either breakfast at the start of Imbolc or a dessert maybe at the end. And let me get this mixed up. This is also a good time to have really, you know, kind of fond memories of maybe some family members that you have or had. And for me, of course, I think most of y'all know, I remember my grandmother. She baked and cooked very, very often. And my grandmother, on my grandmother's side, is where I received my Scottish ancestry. So a lot of the Irish and Celtic ancestors I can, you know, identify with. And let's see how this is looking. This is looking so, so good. And I wish that y'all could smell this. This smells just wonderful. I'm going to add just the very last little bit. You know, you think, oh, I don't have much, but it actually is really a lot in there that you leave behind in bowls. And what I've done, of course, you know, I've got my cast iron pan. And this is one of those that, you know, I'm going to have to really work very hard for, to have more patience and more strength mentally and physically, because I'm definitely going to need it with a few projects upcoming. Oops. Let's see if I can. And just let me get the rest of this going. And what I'll do is I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees. This should take probably about, you know, depending on your oven, about 40 to 50 minutes, you know, and just do a skewer test to, you know, to make sure it's done. A few little crumbs coming out is, you know, okay. That just means you're going to have a moist loaf. 350, 40 to 50 minutes. And we are back. This turned out beautifully. I'm so pleased with it. I did go for the full 50 minutes. Just because, you know, when I went to pull the rack to check it, it seemed to have a little bit of a jiggle. So I went the whole 50 minutes, and you can see everything here. That's not a stick. Not sure what happened there, but you know, it is, at this point, it's going to be so good. But what I do have is the lavender infused honey and my confectioner sugar. And I'm going to just mix that up, I think, as quickly as I can, and make this a glaze for part of it. And this is kind of like the traditional glaze for an Imbolc bread. And I am going to add just a little bit of cream, because you certainly don't want to have to go back and get more confectioner sugar. But I'm going to just stir that, and I think I'm feeling pretty good about that. So that was maybe a tablespoon or so. Now, if the honey, the lavender infused honey, a little bit of cream and confectioner sugar is not your thing, no worries. We have an alternative. Set my cream over here. You know, again, just a little bit of confectioner sugar, but what I did do was I did grate, and I zested and juiced 1 lemon. And so what I'm going to do is, I'm really reluctant to put this whole bit in here. So I'm going to just start off a little bit slow. And certainly lemon is really appropriate to have it Imbolc. There's no going wrong with lemon or lemon peel. And that's looking, I think you can see it, that's looking pretty good. But yet they both look, you know, really super different. Let's see how this, yeah, that's kind of, I think, loose enough. I'm going to add just like a drop. I'm not going to even try to pour it, just a few drops more. And with the grated zest of the lemon and the lemon juice, this is, I'm sure, really lip smacking good. And there we are. And I have this other one as well. I believe it's totally mixed up fine. So, you know, I couldn't decide which I wanted to do. I'm going to do them both. I'm going to definitely do them both. And I think that y'all can see. I'm just going to do half and half, so I can let you know, excuse me, which one I prefer. I hope that you try this on your own. But I will just drizzle this right really quickly. And what I'm going to do is, before I go to the other one, I've got a few little blue, I think you can see blue corn flour and some rosebuds. I'm going to just lightly do a little bit of blue corn flour, and just very lightly with the lavender. And I think that I probably can just peel this off a little bit and sprinkle a little bit. Oh, these are so brightly colored. Oh my goodness. It's just really pretty. If you don't have, you know, rosebuds or whatever, if you have calendula, if you want to sprinkle that on there, that's totally fine too. And this is looking pretty good. I don't want to overdo it. I have my lemon here, and I'm going to just absolutely go for it. I'm sorry, y'all can't see. Make sure I get the top kind of, you know, with plenty of ooey goodness. And you have to remember this loaf is totally cooled off. Totally. A little bit of more blue corn flour. That's going to look really pretty with the yellow flecks of lemon zest. A little bit, just a very, you know, a pinch of lavender. And a little bit of rosebud on this too. I like to reinforce things. I kind of like to do the same when, like, I'm making an oil or an incense or something like that. I kind of like to reinforce it and just really push the intention through. There we go. I think y'all can see what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this set, and I'm going to let it just set. And then we're going to come back and cut this and see what this tastes like. I want to, you know, I tell y'all that this was really, really delicious. I wanted to show you, here I am, but yes, I wanted to show you just how really, really pretty this came out. And I can definitely tell you I have tasted the almond like glaze, and it is, I'm sorry, and we are back. The glaze has kind of set, not really a lot. I'm really kind of anxious to show this, and I'm really anxious to taste it too, but I've got a little bit of everything happening here. But really, how pretty. I can tell you the honey glaze really has a good, bold honey flavor, and so does the lemon. So it's going to be hard to pick between one or the other. Now, the first piece always goes as an offering to the Fae, always. I still have their milk that's been sitting here I have a little, you know, kind of like an altar for them inside, but I do work with them outside. But these offerings will be made inside today. And let's cut into this and see. I'm cutting into the honey side, and not that it really, you know, probably makes a big difference. Let's see. Let's turn this around, and you can barely see a few flecks of this and that, but it looks, you know, basically like what I expected. And I'm gonna have to grab another plate for myself. The Fae always comes first. And let's see, mine will be a lot thinner. Let's see, there we go. And you know, there's not a lot of difference between the first one and the second one other than the size. But let me just have a wee bit of a taste. You can just discern a little bit of the rosemary, which is really what I wanted to accomplish. The rest of it is moist, very moist, and it's delicious. I hope that y'all give this a try. This is certainly appropriate for sunup on Imbolc, or if you want to wait until festivities are, you know, kind of winding down the next day after dinner for dessert. Either way, both ways, you have it covered. I want to thank y'all so much for joining me. Merry part, and I sincerely hope to merry meet again. Goodbye, y'all.